Depression is a proven clinical diagnosis. It's real. A feeling of just sometimes hopelessness, goes beyond just being sad for a day.
Depression is, to me, like, you get to a point where you're so sad, not even nothing can take you out of it. Things that used to make you laugh don't make you smile anymore. It's harder to make you even happy because something or some things that happen to you make you so sad that you can't see the brighter side of anything. And then sometimes it takes you to the point where you just want to die or you just want to hurt yourself.
There's no one major cause of depression. Depression is sometimes caused by biochemical changes, caused by what's going on in a person's life.
Depression for me is a person who has a low self-esteem, a person who cries, person who is antisocial, doesn't want to talk, distance themselves from the world. Depression is when you go through a lot at home and you could see it in the person's face, but they just don't want to tell you.
What symptoms do depressed teenagers have?
There's a whole variety of symptoms that teens show when they're depressed. Some teens really look sluggish. They are really tired, exhausted throughout the whole day. They just have a lack of interest in things. They don't really feel like anything is giving them happiness. They feel kind of empty inside. Sometimes they withdraw from the people that they used to talk to. They don't hang out with their friends. They just keep to themselves a lot.
Teen depression looks very different from adult depression. And we usually think of depression as when you're sad and you're unable to do a lot of activities. When teens are depressed, sometimes they look very angry and they act out rather than act in as depressed people typically do.
Well, I guess from personal experience, when people act out, even out of anger, I've learned that it comes from sometimes depression, or when people are usually very social, and then suddenly they become they don't want to talk to everybody, or anything like that. I guess that's a sign of depression.
Do depressed teenagers easily admit they're depressed, or do they pretend to be alright?
It depends. It's a case-by-case basis. Sometimes people are really aware of their feelings and they're able to admit them easily. Other times, and sometimes more often than not, they don't have an easy time saying that they're depressed, or they don't even understand what that depression is in their life, so they don't know how to express it to somebody. Or they just don't want to be involved with people to begin with, so they hold back from saying what their feelings are.
Or just deeper and deeper into depression. So a point where it's kind of difficult to get out of, ever. Because I guess if you stay in one set and nobody's there to help you or anything, that's that becomes your normal. Depression, like you said, it's a sadness. So when you go from depression and you lead to suicidal, what do you think, what makes people go from being depressed to suicidal?
Depression does not necessarily lead to suicide. That's one type of road that people sometimes take.
I think it's kind of hard because when it comes to suicide, it comes from your mind. It's all in your head. You have conversations in your head this is whatever, whatever. So sometimes some people are verbal about it. They make comments like, I can't stand this life, I don't want to be alive. But some people are very introverted, so they keep it to themselves. So you can think they're fine, and then one day they'll be gone because like in their mind they have like so much going on, and then that's what it is. What do you think will be like keys to know if somebody's depressed?
You mean as a peer, if you're a teenager and you have a friend?
Yeah.
That's a heavy load for a teenager. Sometimes if you see a friend who's giving away their prized possessions, if they're writing lists, if they stop calling you. On the other hand, sometimes they have a moment of extreme elation right before someone is going to suicide. They're the happiest that they've ever been. If friends are worried that someone's going to suicide, you tell someone.
They feel that they just can't handle it anymore, and they are looking more towards, expressing suicidal tendencies, or we call it suicidal ideation, where they're thinking that that is the only alternative at this point. And when it comes to that and their life is in danger, then that's when hospitalization is looked at as the treatment.
You have to take care of any illness. Depression is like any other illness. If you treat a cold before it gets really bad, if you treat cancer before it gets bad, if you treat depression is an illness. It's a biochemical illness.
But I am someone who believes strongly that it takes not just one magic pill to cure it all. I think that having medication to get you to a point where you can feel as though now I can learn what I need to learn on how to cope with it. Having medication and therapy and good support systems combined together is going to make the chances of success raise a lot.
I think people can learn from each other, and talking about it and supporting each other has a benefit.
You don't really understand what people go through. Like people, you don't think that they ever been through certain things, and it's kind of not funny, but it's interesting, and it's like
ironic.
Yeah, like wow, like you don't really get it. Like you think like, oh, he's a funny person, or she's just always like happy. Like you never see like, oh wait, she's been through stuff too, similar to yours or different. But it's kind of interesting because some people feel like they're alone. So if they realize that they're not the only one, it can help them. What do you recommend for depressed teenagers?
Doing a lot of the routines, keeping them involved with other people rather than remaining away from their friends, being involved in regular exercise activities, counseling, therapy.
Being with someone who's trained to speak with you about that and to help you to come to terms with the things that happened in the past is one way.
We want people to be functional. The goal of all treatment is to make people successful and functional members of society.
Journaling about it really helps because anytime you can look at where your life has been and what new experiences have been happening, and then looking for patterns throughout that, that's a really good way of coming to terms with the past and finding out that it's okay and things will get better. There's hope at every day. Every day that you wake up is a new day, and a new way to find out how you can cope with it.
it's a stressful time, and that there is light at the end of the tunnel. As long as you seek support, and get your education, which is probably the most critical piece of this.
What's your advice for like kids that are going to be watching this that have dealt with depression, know people with depression?
Depression is common. Depression is nothing to be ashamed of.